Okay, guys, welcome to the webinar. My name is Jeff Mills, and I'm so glad you guys took time out of your busy schedule to just tune in and check out what's going on in the world with Facebook and a lot of different things we're going to cover on this webinar and this free training today. So in this free training today, we're going to talk about the coming Facebook ad apocalypse. It might sound really horrible. I'm going to kind of break it down for you guys. It's really not too horrible, but it could be horrible depending on what kind of businesses you have and what kind of different things you do with Facebook advertising. So we're going to go through that, talk about that a little bit, and I'll kind of run through kind of a synopsis of everything I'm going to do in just a second. I got more things I want to share with you guys. So as we get started, I don't know who is watching this webinar. This is for my friends and my subscribers, and so there could be other people who have jumped on here that want to check this out who don't know me yet. So I'm just going to do a brief introduction to let you guys know who I am if you've never met me before, so you know who you're listening to and kind of my backstory. So I began marketing online back in 2003. That's like forever, like a dinosaur at the internet, right? I've created many high-ticket products and courses. I've done many seminars, live events, workshops over the years, and I've built large businesses in the direct selling space, which is the multi-level marketing, direct sales, business opportunities. I've made a lot of money doing that, and I've moved away from like a lot of the biz oppy stuff. And several years ago, I moved away from that type of marketing, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that kind of businesses, but I went to more like what I call mainstream businesses, more direct to local business support, digital agency, where I'm working now with businesses, helping businesses who don't know how to do online marketing and they're not too sure how to navigate Facebook world or the digital space. They kind of didn't adapt. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of businesses are really good at, doing what they do in their business, but they're just not really good at marketing their business. So they need people like me to come alongside them and help them out. So I've seen a really big market in that area, and that's kind of where I'm at now. That's the space I'm playing in currently right now. I've built a large e-commerce business over the last 4 years. I killed it with Shopify. I had an e-commerce store. I did over $500,000 in sales in 1 year on that e-commerce store, and I went and taught people all over the world how to run Shopify stores. And I had fun doing that, but I stepped away from the e-commerce space. I'm not like actively training and coaching people in that space anymore. I loved it. I did it for 4 years, but I've moved on to this digital marketing assistance and support side of my life right now. I spent over $500,000 on Facebook ads, generating leads for myself, generating leads for my customers. And so I've got a lot of experience with $500,000 of ad spend on the platform, learning what works, what doesn't work, so that I can bring the people who choose to work with me, the best results that I can possibly give them for getting leads, traffic, and sales. And that $500,000 has produced over $2.8 million for me, myself, my clients, and the different people I'm working with is as a return back on ad spend. So it's a significant return on ad spend. How many of you guys would spend $500,000 on Facebook ads to bring back $2.8 million in revenue? Anybody here want to do that? I think all of you should be raising your hand saying, yeah, Jeff, for sure. Like, I'd love to do that. Show me how to do that. So I'm not going to be training you guys how to do that, unfortunately, today, because I'm sort of getting out of the training business and more just in the support and doing the done-for-you stuff for people now. Recently became a single dad, so some of you might know that story, but back in 2017, at the end of the year, I got divorced after 21 years of being married to my wife, and we both kind of just went our own separate ways and saw that there was kind of a separation that needed to take place in our life, and so we both agreed to get divorced on a very amicable divorce. It was probably one of the easiest divorces in the history of divorce. Divorce is always hard, don't get me wrong, but we got it done in like 6 weeks, and we're fine. We're cool. We're sort of still friends, and things are okay. But my daughter rotates back and forth between my house, my ex-wife's house, and apart from that, things are okay. Things worked out just fine. And don't be feeling sad for me, because whenever I tell people I'm divorced, they're like, oh, yeah, I mean, that usually is the case. But in this case, it's probably the best thing for both my wife, ex-wife. I call her my wife still because it's still recent. But my ex-wife and I are on good terms. And I think for the better and for the best, the future, we're going to be just fine. So that's a little bit about my personal life. If I can be a little bit vulnerable, is it okay if I be a little bit vulnerable with you guys? Because sometimes, people hide behind these things and just kind of like never tell people what's really going on in their life. But I got an amazing teenage daughter. Her name's Izzy. She's going to be 16 years old here this month, which is just amazing. She's going to be driving soon, and I just love her to death. She's amazing. I live now in Woodbury, Minnesota. I used to live in Cottage Grove, Minnesota, but now I live in Woodbury, Minnesota, and I'm putting new roots down here in this town, and I'm really trying to really dig into this town and service a lot of the businesses locally here in my own backyard in the new city that I live in with Woodbury, Minnesota. And I'm loving that. I'm loving meeting new people, getting out and meeting new businesses and finding out what their needs are, and then helping them navigating that digital marketing space and doing done-for-you services for those local businesses. And this is just like the crazy thing of like, what's a weird thing about you, Jeff, that we don't know about? So some of you who don't know me, I love surfing, even though I'm 47 years old and I live in Minnesota. I grew up in Huntington Beach, California, so I still love surfing. I watch the World Surf League anytime they have competitions. I'm streaming it live on my computer, watching all the heats, all the competition, all the waves. I absolutely love surfing. When I get a chance to go where I grew up in Huntington Beach, I go surfing when I can. I love traveling the world. I go on cruises all the time, at least once or twice a year with cruising. And I love seeing the world, meeting interesting people, discovering really cool places and the people inside those places. And so that's just a little bit of background to Jeff Mills, you guys. I just wanted you to know a little bit about me in case you wondered who's doing this webinar. And let's just jump into the content, you guys, and let's get this thing started. So with all these years of experience with what I've done, this might be a big number, it might be a little number, it doesn't really matter. I'm not throwing this out here to brag and talk about how much money I've made, but we've produced over $25 million in sales with all the things I've done, all the people I've worked with. And, people think, okay, money is a measuring stick. You can measure how successful you are by what you've done and how you've created an impact. And for me, $25 million in sales is a pretty big impact. And that's in the last, 15, 16 years that I've been marketing online. So, and who knows, people done way more than that and people done way less than that, but that's my mark. That's my point system. That's the points I put on the board, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So what I do best, what does Jeff Mills do to help people in their businesses? I simplify marketing automation so that you can work less and make more money. I love automation. I love putting systems in place. I dream and sleep in systems. I speak in systems. I see systems in my brain. I see processes, and that's my gift to the world. I don't know what it is about me that makes that so interesting to me, but I just love systemizing businesses, breaking things down into simple parts, rearranging them, and then putting them into a sequence and a flow that brings people through processes of getting information. And by doing that, it makes me as the business owner work less, so I don't have to work so hard by putting automation systems in place. It also helps my clients and the people I work with. It helps them work less because now they have a better automated flow in what they do in their business. I also help people by reducing their marketing costs and turning your ads into income. So a lot of people don't understand how to do paid advertising, and that I really believe that if you're serious about running a business online and you're not doing paid advertising, you're probably scared for some reason that paid advertising is going to cost you too much money and you're going to lose your shirt. But when you have a good funnel, when you have a good high-converting website or a high-converting webinar, you want to pour as much money into that thing as possible, because it's always that, put a couple bucks in, get a couple, $3 or $4 back. And when you do it right, you can just fill that thing with as much money as you can possibly afford, and you can make a fortune. And a lot of people just don't understand that. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to post on some these websites. I'm going to post and submit my websites to Google, and I'm going to go put some stuff up on YouTube for free, and hopefully when the traffic comes someday, I'll make some money. And I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, but that's kind of like wait for it to happen someday, wishful thinking, and usually it doesn't lead to a lot of profits. And a lot of people who've never made money on the internet are using methods like that. So I really advocate paid marketing, and by doing it the way I do it, we can bring the costs that it costs you to acquire a customer, we can bring that down so you have less cost per sale, which brings you more income, which then you can spend that money and do what you want with it. I increase your time off by getting people more money per customer, which also increases your lifetime customer value. So by me helping you reduce those costs, again, it kind of goes back to what I just said, it gives you more income, it gives you more money to do the things you want to do, to buy the nice home, the nice car, the nice vacations, to do charitable works and give backs to your churches and your communities, because, you know, money, as much as people hate to say and admit to it, it does make a difference what you can do when you have money. And it sucks when you don't have money because you can't do a lot, right? And many of you have been in that situation. You're frustrated because you're trying to do the best you can with what you have, but you just don't have money. Now, stick around to the very end of the presentation, because if those of you who are money challenged, you got some money situations and some money issues in your business or in your life, stay to the very end of this presentation. I have some incredible news for you that might be something you're interested in looking at. So hang with me to the end of that. And that was called an open loop, by the way. So I may just stay all the way to the end of the webinar now to close that loop, okay? I'm just teasing. Okay, so I also improve your sales conversions and turn objections into opportunities. So a lot of you who do coaching and consulting, or you're doing high-ticket sales, I do a lot of coaching and consulting with businesses that have high-ticket products. And a lot of them bring leads through an application process, and they talk to them over the phone, and they close those leads over the phone. And it's a great way to do business. If you have a high-ticket product or you want to sell a high-ticket product, instead of putting a $5,000 or $25,000 a year coaching program with a buy button on a website, you know, you want to lead those people to an application and close those people through getting to know them and showing them how you're going to help them. And once they can agree upon that you are the person they want to do business with, you can show them how to pay you the $25K. Now, you might think, well, gee, Jeff, that's a pretty big number. You know, do people actually make those kind of numbers? Yeah, they do. Just today, I closed a deal for $36,000. It's a $36,000 contract. It's going to go all this year, and we're going to build a whole platform and a marketing system and a membership website for a real estate agent. We're really excited about it, and we did it all over the phone. He didn't go to a website and purchase something from a button. So I also connect people to 8 to 12 strategic partners who can help you in other areas that I'm not an expert at. See, I learned a long time ago that I don't want to try to be everything to everybody and try to solve everyone's problems. So I got good at a few things, and then I delegate and I outsource and I refer through strategic partners, people that can help my subscribers and friends in ways that I cannot. And there's, again, I'm not going to get into all 8 or 12 areas that I can refer people to, but I have a lot of connections and a lot of business relationships that I can help you guys with in case we talk sometime in the future and you're looking for a solution. I might be able to point you in the right direction through some of the trusted strategic partners that I work with. So that's what I do best. That just helps you guys get a little bit more background to what I do. Okay, so how can I best help my friends and subscribers? Now, I want to just do a quick survey. Don't do a lot of these on GoToWebinar, but I wanted to do one today. I wanted to actually ask you guys some questions, and I'm going to have you guys play along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the GoToWebinar platform, and we're going to do a poll. So if you guys are watching right now, you're going to see on your screen a poll show up, and I want you guys just to play along because I want to know who my subscribers, my friends, the people who have jumped on this webinar today, I want to know what it is you guys do. So I've kind of come up with a few categories, and just helps me kind of learn a little bit about who's on this webinar with me today. So on your screen in front of you, you should see a poll that's launched there in front of you on the screen. You can actually interact with it. You can put your mouse on there and you can click on the button that best represents who you are. So I see that you guys are now filling out the poll. So if you could please just go ahead and fill it out, pick an area, submit it, or whatever the button says to do, submit it. We've got, at this point, 38% of the votes have come through here. So you guys, I want to get as high a representation as I can. I'm going to make sure you guys are listening, paying attention, watching this webinar. So if you're listening to my voice right now, but you're watching some video or you're looking somewhere else in the room but not really paying attention to your screen, go look at your screen. It's really important that you play along with me just so I can get accurate and good data about who my watchers are today, my participants are today. All right, we're looking at about 57% of the votes taken in here, guys. We're going to close the poll down in 10 seconds. So if you haven't voted yet, you need to go on that screen there with your mouse, get up there, push a button or two, and make sure you let me know who you are. And I'm going to show you guys the results of the poll. So sometimes people don't show you the results of the poll, but I'm going to actually show you so you guys can see kind of a makeup of who is listening and watching here on the webinar here today. Okay, so we're going to close it down in 5. We've got 60% of the votes in 4, 3, 2. Come on, guys, get me those last minute votes, last second votes. 3, 2, 1. We're closing the poll down. The poll is now closed. All right, so now I'm going to share the results on the screen for you guys to see what's going on. All right, so in front of you, you should see the results of the poll. You can see the percentages of the people. So we got a lot of people, looks like in this particular case, a lot of people in the digital agencies. They're servicing local businesses. They're doing, Facebook ads. They're doing agency work. They're doing something where they're doing done-for-you services for local businesses. We've also got a large number of people who are doing like make money online offers, affiliate marketing, MLM, a few e-commerce people. A lot of you are doing coaching, consulting, and then, a good percentage of you guys are doing other. So that really helps me out. It really helps me out. Now, you might not be one of these, you might not even be another. You might be something totally different than what I showed you guys here. But that gives me a little bit better understanding of who's watching today and who's chiming in. So thanks for playing with me, and I'm going to go ahead and hide that survey and take it away. Okay. So here's what we're going to cover on the webinar. I've got a lot of stuff to go through today, so here's what we're going to do. What's changing in Facebook ads? We're talking about the Facebook apocalypse and what's going down with that, all the crap that you can see in the news lately. If you've been following it, you might be like me, you're reading everything that comes out, or maybe just heard a few things about it, or maybe this is like brand new, you're like, dude, what's Facebook? You don't even know what it is. So we're going to kind of cover it, just give you some summaries of what we're seeing happening right now. We're going to talk about custom audiences. It's really important that for those of you who want to do marketing and sell products and services, you can do Facebook ads or Google AdWords or Twitter or YouTube or all these other marketing platforms with paid ads, that you really understand how you should be and why you should be using custom audiences and even building what are called lookalike audiences, and stand out and get yourself in front of the right people that want to buy your services from you. We're going to cover how to set up reports in your Facebook ad account. So those of you who are doing Facebook ads or you want to learn a little bit about Facebook ads, I'm going to break down and show you guys what my reporting system looks like, so how I can track from a person viewing a Facebook ad to clicking on a Facebook ad to opting into a website, to putting their information into a shopping cart and like putting their credit card information in, to then making a purchase, and how to measure the ROI, the cost of every single one of those steps. Because as a marketing agency, as a digital agency, or even as a business owner, it all comes down to metrics, data, and numbers. And the more you know your numbers, the better you can dial your ads in, the better you can service your clients. And a lot of people just don't get that. And so they're not looking at the data correctly, and they're just looking at the basic bare bones reports that Facebook gives them. And their Facebook reports are far, far, far just not dialed in correctly. So I'll show you guys how I do it so you guys can copy it. We're going to talk about something new called the Smart Pixel, the Super Smart Pixel, something that is better than Facebook advertising, or that actually enhances your Facebook advertising. So if any of you guys are doing advertising on Facebook or Google, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and you're doing paid ads and you're using custom audiences, well, the Smart Pixel in a way kind of replaces and enhances the custom audiences that you're used to, and I'll kind of walk you through and talk more about that as we go. And then I'm going to talk about some ways that can help you grow your business, and then we're going to do a Q&A. You can ask me anything you want about business, about what you're doing, and I'll see if I can help you. Okay, you guys ready to get started? Here we go. So what happened with Facebook? What's this big apocalypse? What's this big news, all right? So it's a company called Cambridge Analytica. They're out of the UK, and what they did is they built an app on Facebook, and they launched that app and got a bunch of people to use this app. what they did is they started to scrape the data from the Facebook users that use that app, and then they like mined all the interests and all the behaviors and all the things that people were into, and kind of like targeted. Facebook targets everybody and puts a label on every kind of interest that you ever do. Like they know what things you click on Facebook, they know what websites you click on, and then they kind of like label you and put you in a box. But all that data is private. Like you don't know who's behind that data, but there is people who like this sports team, they like this movie, they like this book, and they get tagged by that, right? So Cambridge Analytica started scraping that data from their app, and then they started scraping all the friends of people who were using that app. And I think they ended up scraping something like 87 million Facebook users, which is crazy. And then they started using that data to supposedly to influence the presidential election back in 2016. So with that could be big news as more data comes out about that. When this kind of the news story broke about 2 weeks ago about this, and when it happened, everyone went into a tiff because all of a sudden what always was there became way more aware to people who are using Facebook. And what that means by that is like people didn't really understand how much data Facebook had about their behaviors and their choices and their clicks and wherever they went inside of Facebook, outside of Facebook, when they left Facebook. Facebook tracks all that. And then all of a sudden people became aware of how deep Facebook was tracking people, and privacy concerns were born because of that. People started, this campaign, Delete Facebook. People were deleting their Facebook accounts, which is kind of funny, but, people just got all upset. Oh, I can't handle being on Facebook anymore because they know everything about me. Well, that's the price you pay when you create a free Facebook account. You're going to give them your data, and you're going to basically let Facebook market, pay marketers, marketers will pay Facebook to get access to this data and run ads to people and show them things they're going to like. That's just the bottom line. It's always going to happen. It's not going to go away. But the general consumer public, the people who are not into business, the people who just use Facebook to get social, they all freaked out about it, all right? Then the news freaked out about it and made a big story about it. So now Facebook has been doing backpedaling and all these PR moves to kind of make sure that people understand that your privacy is safe and nobody actually knows who you are on Facebook. But because of that, they're making some changes. Facebook is to forward-facing, show the public that their privacy on Facebook is super important, have made some big changes that affect advertisers like you and me. So if you're advertising on Facebook, the new changes that Facebook's going to be implementing could be apocalyptic to you, or it might not affect you. It just depends on what kind of business you have. So you can go on the news. This is just taking a snapshot of Google News today. Recently, you can see all the different ads, not ads, but like articles about the Cambridge Analytica, and you can go search on Google and you can see the news articles out there, and it's just everywhere. People are reporting about this. It's like major news. So Facebook responds. So what Facebook did in response to this is they decided to shut down, or not shut down, but they put new policies in place to any developer who builds an app. Now, most of you don't build apps on Facebook, so that's not going to affect you, but some of you do. Some of you do have apps, and now you've got to go through a new submission process to submit your app again. And Facebook what they've done is they've taken away certain data that used to get collected on apps, because that's how Cambridge Analytica got data, was through the app. So they've shut off certain pipes of content that people could have access to in the past. So now they can't be scraped or taken inappropriately anymore. So that's now shut down. So again, that's not going to affect a lot of you, but it will affect some of you. So you can see there's an article here. I put the article here. You guys can reference that later. Take a screenshot of the screen if you ever want to go check that website out, and you can read more about it. Also, because of this data breach that happened, Facebook is getting rid of 1/3 or 1/4 of its marketing interests called behaviors. It's called behavior targeting, and they're getting rid of it, which is crazy. And this is like the thing that scares me. For those of you who do Facebook advertising, let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go pull up a website here. I had a screen brought up earlier. I don't know why it wasn't coming up. Okay, so here's my ad account. And then you go to create an ad. We're just going to just do a random ad type. And we're going to go here to the targeting area right here, detailed targeting. And there's 4 areas that you can do targeting here. Demographics, interest, behaviors, and more categories. So what we're talking about is everything in this box. All these behaviors that are in here, Facebook's taking them away. And what behaviors also represent is they represent buying behaviors, which means when people are in the market to buy certain things, or they've made certain purchases, or they've been identified to make a lot of purchasers, and they're that's a really important thing to use when you're marketing to people. You want to market to people who spend money, who are buying a certain type of a vehicle. All that is inside of this behavior targeting, buyer purchases, buyer data. So if you hadn't been using Facebook ads, and now you're starting to see like, wow, like you can actually target people who are looking for homes. You can target people who are looking to rent. You can target people who are looking to buy a car. You can target people who are looking to buy insurance. Yeah, like Facebook knows a lot of data. Now, they get that data for a couple ways. They get it from the behaviors people do inside the platform. They also get that data by buying it from third-party advertisers like Datalogix, Oracle, Epsilon. There's a couple other agencies that Facebook buys data from, and they take that data, the credit, like especially credit card data, and they match it to people who are inside of the Facebook platform, and they merge it together so they know extra things about you, and then they sell that to advertisers like me so I can market stuff to you based on your past purchase behavior. How cool is that, right? Wow. But to the general consumer, holy crap, Facebook knows everything about me. Oh my goodness. No wonder I'm seeing ads about puppies because I love puppies. But they just keep showing me ads about puppies. But you know what? I love puppies. I'm going to go buy a dog. Oh, look, there's an ad for someone who's got a puppy farm. I'm going to go buy one. Oh, whoops, Facebook just got me again. Shoot, that's what Facebook does. They show people what they hope are more things that they love, so they can make purchases about things they like. That's the goal. Have a good, happy user experience. But because so much data is being used through all this, people get weirded out about it once they start finding out how much data Facebook actually has. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here. Some of you totally get all this. Some of you, this is all brand new stuff. But I wanted to kind of run this backstory through with you. So what else is in this targeting here? So I'll show you. I'll show you here that, the marketing director for Facebook, his name is Graham Mudd. He said, we want to let advertisers know that we'll be shutting down partner categories, and this product enables third-party data providers to offer their targeting directly on Facebook. And while this is common industry practice, we believe this step, winding down over the next 6 months, will help improve people's privacy on Facebook. So that's going to go down in 6 months. So you got a little bit of a window of time. You got plenty of time to still get out there and crush Facebook before the apocalypse happens, but it's going to happen in 6 months for sure. So a long time ago, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I knew you joined my Social Profit Academy. We created this really cool document that kind of broke down Facebook's ad targeting. Can you guys see that? Everyone can read that, right? I'm just teasing. I know it's super small. So, what I did is I created this infographic, all of Facebook's ad targeting option in one epic infographic. And so I broke down those 4 categories, demographics, interests, behaviors, and so forth. And some of those things you're seeing here, interests, we kind of show you like all the ways that Facebook is doing it. So here's behaviors, and all these things here are the things that are going to go away. Targeting automotive, business to business. Now, some of these might stick around. I don't know specifically which ones are going to stay or go away, but some of these are going to be taken out for sure. And these are really good categories. If you want to target corporate execs, most of you didn't know that you could target everyone who's a corporate executive and run an ad to them. Well, that might be going away. You want to target financial professionals, people who are financial planners and do a lot of financial planning services and investment services. It's super like honey hole for finding people who are in that niche. Well, that might be going away based on targeting these people on a job role. Here's all these, this is the honey hole right here, the purchase behavior section. Business purchases, buyer profiles, people who buy clothing, people who buy food and drink, people who buy home and garden, kids products. These are honey holes. We're just targeting people who buy things. You always want to market things on Facebook to people who buy things. These things could be going away. So that is one of the apocalyptic things that are happening. That's just one of two things happening.